Saskatchewan spends $3 million a year to fund drugs to treat rare diseases. That funding benefits fewer than 20 people in the province. But over the next decade, the number of drugs for these rare diseases is expected to grow exponentially. Kim joins us in studio. Kim, with this predicted increase, what sort of pressure have governments been feeling?
Well, Whitney, recently we've been hearing from more and more families speaking up about their need to have expensive drugs publicly covered. Advocacy groups will use personal stories to plead their case to government. In some cases, those groups are backed by drug companies. Now, in part 2 of our series, we meet a man who's been paying out of pocket for the past year for a drug that's funded in some provinces, but not here in Saskatchewan.
You're just losing wind. It's tough to breathe. Tough to breathe.
Harold Tendler spent his entire working life as a farmer near Assiniboia. A few years after selling his farm in 2002, he was diagnosed with IPF, a disease that scars the lungs and makes it difficult to take in oxygen.
I used to like to walk. Can't do that anymore, not very far anyway.
Although the cause is not completely understood, genetic factors may play a role. 2 of his brothers passed away from similar afflictions.
When my brother was diagnosed, he had 2 to 5 years, and it was 2.5, and he was gone. So I've been around a little longer than that, and hopefully I stick around a little bit longer.
Last August, his doctor introduced him to a drug called Esbriet, which is meant to slow the deterioration.
So this is 1 week?
This is 1 week, yes.
It's approved by Health Canada and is publicly funded in Ontario and New Brunswick, but not Saskatchewan. Harold has been paying out of pocket for the past year for a total of about $44,000.
Very expensive. But like I talked to my kids, I said, I'm going to spend your inheritance. They said, go ahead.
The Canadian Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation has been lobbying provinces to fund Esbriet, making it easy for supporters to email health ministers. Intermune, the maker of Esbriet, also happens to be a major sponsor of the organization. A health policy researcher says advocacy is what brings these costly drugs to the forefront.
The government doesn't go out looking at what orphan drugs are out there or what drugs are out there for orphan diseases. They wait until someone brings this to their attention, and so it's almost all politics.
The health minister acknowledges pharmaceutical companies and advocacy groups make their voices heard, but describes the approval process as more formalized.
It comes down to the efficacy of the drug, the price for the drug, the number of patients that could benefit, whether or not we have, frankly, the capacity to add it to our drug plan within the budget of the drug plan.
Regardless of who's paying what, in the end, it's about quality of life. And for Harold, that means a little more time with his grandkids.
Hopefully I can stick around a little longer. And like I say, the twins are only 3.5. I'd like to see them grow up too.